Hello, everyone, and hi from Malaysia. I'm Joy Abdullah, and welcome to my Let's Talk Marketing stream. This afternoon, we'll be talking about how can we actually create effective leads in terms of lead generation. So Venkatesh, Zaid, Karan, Adit, PW, thank you for joining us. Hi there, and I hope it's just going to be a short one. I've tried to keep it strategically as an overview, just to give you a context in what you're going to hear, and feel free to pop in your questions in between. I will switch back between screens to answer your questions. One of the things that I've noticed working specifically in the B2B sector that comes up a lot, most of my clients approach me from having an issue with generating leads. And lead generation, whether it's B2B, B2C, whatever we want to label it as, lead generation is the ultimate objective of marketing. I mean, reaching the customer, reaching the client, getting them to inquire, to become a potential prospect is why all of marketing takes place. But in my experience, I've found that there are 4 key strategic inputs that are required for a successful lead generation. Now, having said that, I'm also going to put this caveat. We need to switch out of our mind of looking at lead generation as a standalone campaign by itself. It's one of the myths that has unfortunately been percolated over the years, thanks a lot to social media and all the social media gurus out there. But a lead generation campaign is not a steroid. It's also not an antiseptic. And all it does is just gives you a bump, and the rise fades away immediately at the end of the campaign. What I'm going to be sharing with you is approaching this extremely strategically, so you don't struggle for leads at any point in time. You actually buffer your brand in such a way that there is a continuous flow of quality leads. So having said that, let me get into my screen. And hi there, Jiten and Adit, thank you very much. Great to see you guys back on this Saturday afternoon. Always lovely to have you all. So please, as Team Crater said, pop in your questions as I go along inside the chat box. I'll come back to it while I'm doing the talk. Plus, at the end, we'll have a detailed Q&A session depending on the questions that you'll have. So let me get to where and what this is all about. You see, it's all about struggling. Any business of any industry, to be very honest, from top level view, lead generation is the biggest and the single most issue that any business faces and their marketing faces. Now, that in turn leads to a second thing, which I'll cover. Who is your ideal target audience? Because when you're struggling for leads, you have to look back at what you're doing and the elements involved in the campaign, including your brand promise, including your offer, understanding of your customer. And this is where I've seen from my experience that either the customer profile, the client profile is a bit fuzzy, it's too broad, or the content is not really resonating. And I'll cover all of this. So let's get going. If you guys are ready, just pop in a yes on the chat box. Hey Vijay, thanks for joining. Lovely to see you on the stream again. Thank you, Jiten. All right, guys. So here we go. The thing about creating effective leads is all about quality. So whatever you're doing in your business, and let me clarify that. What I mean by whatever you're doing is, your business is all about marketing. It's not exactly about the product you're selling. It's not about the service you're selling. It's not about your expertise, but it's actually about the marketing. The more effective your marketing is, the better the quality of your leads are. And then when you run through the entire business lineup in terms of the processes, directly you'll see your leads impact your profitability. So keep in mind that getting to the right quality of leads is what matters. Now, your strategy needs to be built around quality. And to get quality leads, you need to have quality content. To have quality content, you need to not look at volume or quantity, but you really need to look at the content per se, the quality of the content that you're putting out. Okay? There are 4 very important strategic elements that come together to form a really impactful and successful lead generation campaign. There are 4 elements. It's not just a question of the right content going out and creating, getting a lot of your call to actions being clicked and people filling in. I'm talking about quality leads that are qualified, indexed internally as hot prospects to convert, whether it's in 30, 40 days or 60 days, but they are leads that will do business with you. So there are 4 key elements that go into it. First and foremost, start with absolutely knowing who is your ideal client. You have to have the client profiling down. Niche profiling is what I label it, really down, very, very defined and well in depth. And I'll cover that in a short while. The second thing is there has to be an ongoing brand campaign. And what I mean by brand campaign is, what is the brand's purpose? What does it stand for? And I've covered this in previous streams. Why are you in business? Why are you doing what you're doing? Who's the face of the business? All of this comes out as the brand campaign. It delivers one single message, which is when you have the brand in your life, what happens? How do you benefit? This is from the client's perspective. The third one is relevant offer. It's not what you say, but it's what they feel, to use a cliched quote. That relevancy will come through when you know your number one, which is your ideal client. And lastly, the human touch. And I'll explain this as I go along. How and where the human touch comes in today's era when we do everything on automation. This is really key. All these 4 have equal weightage. What I mean by equal weightage is they are 100, 100, 100, 100. Together, they form the juggernaut that makes your campaign, your marketing successful to generate the quality leads that you need. Let's start with the first one, ideal client. As I said, define your client avatars as well as you can. There are some key attributes which you'll be reading on the slides. These are just guidelines, but every brand has a diverse set of audiences. So for example, your finance would be talking to banks and investors and others involved from the financial aspect of it. That's one avatar. Your board would have a different composition. Your client group, people who would be buying and people who would be using, would be another different group. Break them down to individual, as I call them, avatars as best as you can. Picturize them. Try and get what they are going through their daily day in fulfilling their job role, and what is it that their personal likes and dislikes are. Again, to get this information, data is key. And I've covered this in a previous stream about how you can get data from social listening. So number one is ideal client. Number two, I mentioned brand campaign. The brand campaign's purpose, and I reiterated, is what does the brand stand for? Its purpose, its value. How does it, how does it add value? How does it benefit your client group? How does it benefit society? And remember here, this is a key. Usually the brand campaigns come out with a brand message which is product led or a service led. Flip it. Brand campaign, when you really want to have the right leads to grow your business, needs to establish thought leadership for the brand. So start taking ownership of a particular area of the industry you're in that you guys are very good at. Hypothetically, giving you a quick hypothetical example, Domino's, it's not the quality of pizza, it's the speed of delivery. They own the turf when it comes to speed of delivery. And therefore they have, offers and everything that if your offer doesn't reach in 30 minutes or whatever, you're going to get a free pizza, etc., etc. I'm just using that to give you the picture of what the content of your brand campaign needs to do. It needs to establish thought leadership. You and I know this very well. When you start the brand campaign, you're not going to get to thought leadership in 30 days or 60 days. So when you're building your brand campaign and you want to run your marketing to generate leads, remember your brand campaign has already got to have a very high visibility and awareness as well as engagement. And usually this should be 90% plus in terms of your data matrix that you get feedback on that campaign. The third area, relevant offer. And relevant offer is not what you're offering, not what, as I call it, techno gizmo that your product or service does. It's actually showcasing how does your brand solve a client's need or a problem, even if it's a latent need, a need that the client might not know. So I'll give you an example from one of my clients, which is a management accounting firm, a mid-sized firm doing quite well now. Now they've catapulted themselves to about 42 million US dollars of business a year. They're a team of about 26 people. A year ago, when I went on board with the client, one of the things they were having is they were looking at a client acquisition campaign for various management accounting services. And the campaigns that we ran, the communication, the marketing that we did, one of the things we did to create leads was to set up a weekly call, a simple community meet on specific topics. A year down the line, that particular venture, and I've shared this in one of my streams earlier, has brought the client 2 6-digit contracts signed on, 2-year contracts signed on with 2 larger groups for a range of their own services. The point I'm making here is the quality of the leads matter in terms of your profitability. This client of mine is extremely happy with two leads resulting in their sales because it added a huge amount of revenue jump in their business. So understand the relevancy of the offer and showcase how your service solves it. That adds or tags back to what your brand campaign is trying to do in terms of thought leadership. So communicate that along with the value, the actual perceived value, not a price point value. Guys, please note this. Price is not a value. It's not a differentiator. It's the worst thing you can get into when you're in a service business. You need to showcase the benefit perceived emotionally by your client. So communicate that, communicate what the brand campaign is trying to establish in its thought leadership, and bring up the relevancy factor in the communication so that that leads to a higher number of inquiries and therefore leads. The fourth one, human touch. As I said, I was going to share more on this, and I'm sorry, but at my end, the picture is a little pixelated. I'm not sure if at your end it is. Got stretched a bit for some reason. The human touch here in a world when we are leading everything through automation and technology, marketing and sales have always been portrayed to be at loggerheads. But let me share this with you that most of my career successes in marketing has come from when I've been able to have the sales director and the team work collaboratively to design the specific lead marketing campaign that we are going to run. You'd be surprised at how much data comes through your salespeople, especially in identifying your ideal client profile, creating the client avatar. So the first point in human touch is internally, get your sales together. Now, even if you're an entrepreneur and you're doing everything together, you are still working with a few people who's doing outreach for you, and bring those people together, okay? Second point is make sure the sales team is interacting personally with those key accounts. You have people who know other people by first name basis. That's very important in defining your client profile and what exactly do they need that helps them in their day-to-day job. The third point here is focus on building a relationship with those clients, with those prospects. Don't go in pitching, don't go in selling. Understand what your prospect is inquiring about, serve that, direct the prospect to resources if it's not within you. In the long run, they will remember and it will benefit your business. So these are the 4 that really help in creating a strong strategic plan or overview in making sure you generate effective quality engagement, which results in quality leads. I'm going to pause here. I can see there's a couple of questions, so I'm going to take this up. Venkatesh, you're asking me, do you suggest running paid performance on LinkedIn to generate leads? Honestly, depending on the industry and depending on where your business is, paid performance or paid LinkedIn ads will help. Two caveats. One, when you've done your ideal client profile, if you feel your clients are on LinkedIn, support it with paid ads. And I'll cover this towards the end of the talk. However, you've got to monitor the returns on the paid ads. It'll cost you an arm and a leg. Do it for 30 days. Select the target audience, select the market, run it, have matrix to say, if I'm running, I'm supposed to reach 1,000 people. I need to generate 100 inquiries, of which there will be 10 good hot leads, which means those 10 get into potential sales. That kind of matrix is required for you to make sure that the money you're spending on paid performance helps. Again, if it's a business which is at least 3 years in running, you've got a base, yes, it'll help. If you're new, my suggestion would be build up your brand identity through thought leadership, through organic content, create a community first, then go and do it. Takes about a year. I hope that helps, Venkatesh. Rohit, you're asking, these approaches are there only for sales-based companies, right? The answer is no, and I'll elaborate. Like human touch, community don't apply direct to consumer companies. In fact, I'm happy to break this. It is not for sales-based companies, and it is not only for B2B, it's also for D2C. In fact, in D2C, it works even better because you have a mass that you can reach. You segment your mass based on interest, and I'm diverting a bit over here, and utilize the 4 strategic framework points that I mentioned to create a campaign that resonates with those respective segments. So please get out of this habit of segmenting by jargon, because it just deflects us and distracts us from creating profitable lead generation using marketing tools as a whole. Approach everything as a ball, as each element fitting in and working together. So it's just like a machine. If one part of the cog is not firing or not functioning, your engine is not going to be really firing very well. So approach it from overall having everything in place. Then you push and pull on these levers as you need. Sabir, what is the solution for people who always procrastinate irrespective of how valuable is the course or service? Hey, look, you are not in control of the procrastination. What you're in control of is communicating and delivering what value benefit they're going to get. There would be some people who would still sit on the fence or not come on for whatever be the reason. You can appeal to some, but not all. My recommendation would always be find that some. Get the old Pareto principle of 20-80. Get 20 clients that give you 80% of your business value, and serve those clients very well, because each of those clients can give you a total of 100 clients. Each client can give you a referral of 3 to 5. And if you convert, an optimal scenario is if you convert all of those referrals, you land up with 100 clients, which doesn't happen usually. You land up with about 30, 35 clients. But don't focus on who's procrastinating. So if you're doing a course, I assume it's some sort of educational training course, and people are not signing on, they're taking it. Go out and put out a Google form to say, how can I help you? What more information do you need that you're not finding? Reach out, be absolutely transparent and open, and see what feedback comes in. Look at your inquiries, look at the questions that you receive. You'll have a lot of data in there to create content to reach these people who are hesitating. All right, let's move on, and I'll take the next set of questions at the end of the talk. Now, the key here is these 4 strategic areas, they help you bring engagement. More the engagement leads to higher the profitability. So engagement is your pole marketing KPI. That's where your performance marketing should really be focusing on when you're trying to generate leads, along with awareness, interest, and the whole 9 yards. But this engagement, mind you, you need to look at what is the average coming from your diverse audience. Don't only look at your client/customer profile bit. Look at all the other stakeholders that are interacting or has some interest in the brand: clients, employees of the brand, prospects, the investors, whoever is involved, the board. Look at what are the engagement that is coming, drop down a level and see how is that content helping that engagement. So you're not going to get everybody at 90%. Some might be at 30-40%, some might be at 95%. You got to look at that level too. What is working, what is not. Look at your data insights to see which pieces of marketing communication has actually been working, and use that back again. I'll cover it under a slide called experimentation. Here's 3 action points just to help you guys while you're putting this 4 areas of strategy together. Do these 3 to help you generate high amounts of engagement. Again, why I'm using high and not using specific numbers is because this works across industry segments. I've done this for service organizations. I've done this for product organizations. It's worked thus far. Everybody's had a different matrix. The experimentation helps us to find out what is ticking on and riding on that and creating those leads. So the first, be absolutely sure. Just now I mentioned diverse stakeholders. Look at your engagement matrix number and drop down to which bits of the content has been working. That gives you a trick. That gives you the tip to what is being relevant to each segment. If you run a campaign for about 3 months, you'll be able to get this piece of data of what content format, and I'm digressing slightly, what content format on which channel and what type in terms of theme is really relevant to that audience. And that is very, very critical, because you can then multiply that up on that channel and start increasing your inquiry and lead. Second, relatable. You've got to ensure that with relevancy, the way your storytelling of that content piece goes is really relatable to that audience that you're giving. And this you can only do if you've done your first strategic pillar of ideal client really detailed. The more insight you have on your client's emotional makeup, approach to a particular theme, topic, interest, their work, their ability to influence, or are they a decision maker, the more you're going to be able to make your communication, be it email marketing, be it a direct mail piece, old-fashioned style, be it social, relatable for them to catch on to it, like it, come back to you, open it, talk to you. It's all meant to start creating those conversations that allow your team to get into one-to-one conversations with them. Third, resonates. Relevant, relatable, and resonates. Now, this third one is really key. If it doesn't resonate, you're not touching the heart. If you're not touching the heart, you're not going to shoot up the ladder, the mind's ladder of being the first remembered brand that, aha, this one helped me. They gave me that information. So let me tie this 3 R's back to the dot of brand campaign. If you're running a brand campaign parallelly, which is trying to establish thought leadership of the brand in terms of how it helps your selected target audience's life, when you're running your individual lead generation campaign and your content piece has relevancy, it's relatable, and it resonates, all of this, the human mind will connect with what your brand is communicating to say, oh yeah, I got this from their blog. Oh yeah, I got it from their direct mail. Oh no, so-and-so came and gave me that the other day. They're really helpful. Next time I need something, my go-to person is X, and X is from your brand. Boom, you've got the engagement that you need. you've got that lead that is going to deliver the dollar value that you're looking for. So keep these three in mind. Now, how do you get to these three? This is how you get to see which of your strategic pillars is really kicking in, which of these three R's is really helping you. Whether you like it or not, there is no guarantee. You've got to experiment. You've really got to experiment. And experimentation happens the more you read your data well, i.e. interpret it well, not analyze. Analysis is different from interpretation. Interpret the data of your segment and what they're saying well. You're able to translate it better into your content. You're able to run, to use a bit of jargon, an A/B test on a particular channel, including emails, direct communication, and see which pulse is getting more traction. And that experimentation helps you to fine tune and go along. This is an ongoing journey, guys. By the way, you're not going to be able to do one piece of campaign 30 days in or 90 days in and say, boom, done, and not do anything for the next 6 months. Your brand's just going to go this way. The curve is just going to go south. Experimentation is the ongoing running. It's a conveyor belt. It's the treadmill that you keep running on. You keep experimenting, see what's working, and you put it into the main channel for production. On it goes. It's a continuous series that needs to run through. The more you experiment, the better you'll know what is working, what results come through, and that's what helps you to keep consistency, visibility, freshness in your marketing, resulting in the engagement, which delivers you the leads, the right leads that you really need. From my end, that's a wrap. Time for questions. So shoot it out and let's see what you guys want to know. It's a Saturday afternoon and I decided I didn't want to keep you guys for too late, but feel free, pop in your questions. Team Crater is going to send it in and I'll start taking it as it starts coming in. Karan, in terms of positioning, how do we go about it? Good question. I'm not sure if I'm getting it correctly. So would you like to elaborate? You're talking about brand positioning within the brand campaign or the lead campaign? Both. Okay, Karan. So positioning is when you've identified your ideal client and you've already got your brand identity framework ready for your brand campaign, look at the positioning you'll have arrived at for the brand versus what your ideal client is playing back. There will be a gap. You will see there's a gap. Adjust that. You'll be able to arrive at a landing of what is being searched for by the client, customer, versus what you want to communicate. Again, I go back to experimentation. Roll it out, see how the relevancy and resonancy happens, amend, adapt and amend. So positioning is dynamic. It changes from time to time based on what the customer's need is. Originally in marketing, long back, decades ago, in a Jurassic era, we would say positioning is cast in stone. No, my personal opinion, hold me to it. Positioning has to evolve because the customer is evolving. The client is evolving. The client changes needs. The relevancy changes. When relevancy changes, positioning has to change. I hope that helps you, Karan. Sonu, how to ensure we capture the aha moment of the audience? Sonu, one of the best things is to, depending on the business that you're handling or you're working in, get on board AI-based social listening. Use very important keywords and hashtags that operate for your industry as well as that you want to establish for your brand, and these will be able to pick up conversations that is happening and feed you back on a particular report. If you work with a social agency specializing in social listening, they have various parameters and specs to give you the report that helps you to get to know what your ideal client is thinking and wanting and looking for, and you're then able to use it in your communication going forward. Shabir, you're asking, how do I know my profiles are monetized enough? I'm not sure I get this question. God is my personal brand. Shabir, with all due respects, I really don't understand the question. If you could you elaborate a little bit more, please? Okay, while we are waiting for Sabur, Sonu, which sales tool do you prefer? It's not a question of me preferring, Sonu. You've got to find out which tool works best for your business model as well as for your brand. There are various, as we all know, there's thousands of them. You've got to figure out by experimenting which is working best. I always recommend to my clients to take on a trial 30-day to 60-day basis, and all sales tools will give you, if you reach out to them directly, a specific offer to trial out for 60 days and see if that works for you. It's not a question of what I prefer because it depends on market, business, and brand. Go for that. Jitin, what should a marketing team look like for a startup? Jitin, could you just elaborate? Your startup is in which industry? So just as a broad overview for everyone, while I'm answering Jitin and Jitin types it in, you definitely should have a social agency who has strong depth in content marketing. And by content marketing, I don't mean a writing team or a visual team, but they understand respective social channel strengths. So they're able to advise you which channel is most applicable for your brand based on where 80% of your client segment, customer segment is. I hope that helps. And also, as a startup, I work with various startups as an advisor. Have a very senior marketing person from that industry as a mentor advisor, somebody that spends at least somewhere between 40 to 50 hours in a month with your marketing team and with the founders from the strategic perspective to guide the brand's development and its communications development. This is really key. Work on the business. If you were to invest in a social agency with strong channel strengths, understanding strengths, and analytics, and then invest in an advisor who's able to guide you. Okay. Venkatesh, any tips on influencer marketing for lead generation? Yes. Create your own influencers. Personally, I always work with my client teams to create between 4 to 6 employee influencers, which takes about 6 months using their personal brand. It always works much better than paying a third-party outside influencer. I do some influencer marketing for brands, but only those brands that align with my entire brand philosophy, I do for them. Otherwise, I work for my client brands, talking for and on behalf. Like, for example, some of you may have seen my post supporting Crater.Club. It's because I like what Crater.Club's doing. I'm involved with them, not only as a mentor and speaker over here, but in terms of their business overview. The founders tap on my experience from time to time. So when you want to go for influencers, first do a cost benefit analysis. You're going to pay a shitload of money, sorry for the French, to an influencer. What are they giving? Having likes, having views is irrelevant. You need inquiries that translate to leads. That means if you're going to go with a influencer marketing, so to speak, put that in your KPI that if you have 1 lakh of followers, you need 10,000 leads or 1,000 hot leads, whichever way, 10,000 inquiries, 1,000 leads coming out of whatever they're doing in that campaign period. Then you can see what's the cost of every lead for the monies that you're spending. Sabir, I was asking that, like, as you know, the personal brand is very important for affiliate marketing. Yes, absolutely. So how do I know that my personal brand is good enough or it needs improvement? May I suggest you reach out to a couple of personal brand experts, and if you want, I'll give you a shout out. Check out a gentleman called Piyush Pandey from Surat, who'll be able to help you. But here's how you know your personal brand is good. 2 things. When people reach out to you on direct messages and on your content, asking you very specifics through your personal brand on what you're doing, you know that your personal brand is starting to get traction. So that's one part of it. The second part of it is you'll get more inquiries and more engagement on the work that you do and why you do it. People want to know your backstory. Why are you doing what you're doing? Even as an entrepreneur, as a business person, that is an indication that it's going up. To be very honest, whether you have 10 lakhs of followers or not is totally irrelevant. That's a number that is a social media myth. It's not the number of views or the number of followers. What really translates is a core community that is engaged with you. So I'll give you an example in terms of this. My personal brand has some 60,000 people on LinkedIn, right? Are all 60,000 worth it for me? The answer is no. I've got a group of just a little under 500 on a separate Telegram group for marketing where we interact. It's a open group which just comes in, pops in questions, shares my content, talks to me, asks me whatever it is. No monetization, but it's a group that speaks purely on business growth through marketing. So that is how you measure that your personal brand is going up, number one. Number two, you're going to get called to do a lot of talks on the subject matter that you're, well known for. For example, when Crater first reached out to me, it was about marketing. It was about strategic marketing and how various elements of marketing come under strategy, marketing strategy, and why we look at it silo and how we lose out on the brand being successful. So for affiliate marketing, I agree, Shabir, you need a very strong personal brand. And to grow your personal brand, may I suggest, it always helps to have a good personal brand coach guiding you. Check out Piyush Pandey, have a word. Feel free to take my name. He's a very good person, very kind-hearted, and I think you'll benefit. Jitin, in the health tech services, I'm looking to build a telemed and AI platform for automatic diagnosis and connecting people with doctors. Excellent idea. I believe something like this is already in play in Europe and in Australia, if my memory serves me correctly. I did some work for healthcare services end of last year, this time last year, in fact, November, December last year, setting up their marketing strategy and their marketing training as well as their brand identity. And they were doing something on this area. Go for it. You've got a market. There is a lot of demand. People don't want to pay for the high prices that is required to just go to a GP or the hassle to go to a GP. But do Google. It's a very competitive market globally. And keep in mind one thing: when you go online with telemed AI-based services, you're not just competing with your area. By area, I mean your locality, state, and country. You're actually global because your stuff, everything that you put out for marketing is going to be globally available, especially the organic side. The paid one is manageable. So look it through as to who is going to use it, what segment of the population. You might be looking at professionals, very busy, not in having time to go and visit a GP, or working mothers and stuff like that, or young, moms with children. Segment your audience and reach out. And if you need some help on how to go about doing this, I'm happy to have a chat. Just reach out through Crater or reach out to me on LinkedIn, and happy to set up a 45 minutes, 1 hour chat and guide you on this. Sonu, any social agency who you can recommend for startup companies? No, Sonu, I'm sorry, I'm not going to do that. I'm not paid by any social agencies, but let me tell you, there are 1,001. My best suggestion would be reach out to Vivian Puri of Crater.Club. He can put you in touch with some good social agencies. It's best to go through people that people know. That would be my thing. Please do pardon me. I can't recommend, not on a live feed. Right now, I don't have any sponsorship from any social agency, and it would be not right, ethically not right, to say X is better than Y. Check with Vivian on Crater, and I'm sure he'll be able to give you some references. Anything else, guys? Any other questions? Anything on the strategy side or any other help that you need? Happy to answer. Otherwise, we'll wrap this up nice and tight straight away. Oh yeah, sure, Rohit. We do share these PDFs. Just reach out to Crater and they'll be able to help get these to you. No problems. Always helpful. You're welcome. You're welcome. Anytime. And just aside, this is my own plug. If you guys need some of these PDFs and y'all are on LinkedIn or on IG, feel free to connect with me. You'll be able to access most of these, especially what I've shared today is already there on my LinkedIn. So on my featured sections, just go ahead and do it. Venkatesh, thank you very much. That is one of the best compliments. Always a delight when you guys find these to be of value. Gives me impetus. Just to share, next Saturday, December 11th, is no presentation, but a pure AMA session on strategic marketing. So feel free to share it with your colleagues, friends, and others. Bring people across. We are going to spend 45 minutes up to an hour if there's enough questions. If there is a way, Team Crater, if there is a way people can send in questions from before, please do inform everybody. And this will be Saturday, same time, here on Crater.Club on my stream. Let's Talk Marketing. Karan, 2 p.m. next Saturday, we'll do an AMA only. Just a session on questions on chat, directly answered by me. So you'll have to bear with seeing my face for 30 minutes to 45 minutes, depending on the number of questions there are. I hope that would be also of help. So prep your questions, send it in earlier, check with Team Crater, and there you go. They'll send you an email with all the details, and I look forward to seeing you all next Saturday. Right? Great. Thank you so much, everyone, and have a lovely Saturday afternoon and evening, and a great weekend ahead. Stay safe, and I'll catch you up next week, same time. Thanks, Karan. Over and out. Bye, guys. Bye.